Oh, so now you want to talk about Medicare and Medicaid. Now you want to talk about Medicare for all. Now you want to talk about protecting people's social safety nets. Well, we already have the Democrats being shown for the frauds that they are. And who better than to lead the fight? That's right. Step aside, force to vote. Jimmy Dore, force to vote no longer matters. For all those who did the March for Medicare for All, force to vote and March for Medicare for All in 2021, guess what? Guess what? You just need a real leader to fight for you. Remember when we asked Nancy Pelosi to, bring, Medicare for all on the House floor for a vote? Well, now, hey, look, she's starting to talk about Medicare and Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. It's Nancy. It's Mama Bear Nancy. She wants to tell you, now I care. And remember what Jamal Bowman said. Everyone's afraid of.
Pelosi power, baby!
Hi, everyone.
Greatest speaker of all time!
Let's hear it for Aaron, Demario, and Annalie to bring us all together today. You are the power. We can do only so much, and I accept your compliment about the Affordable Care Act. But without the outside mobilization, it could not happen. So know the power of you. Right now, we're at a place where we have so much to be proud of, so much to defend, as others try to sabotage it. But you know what? We're not going back. We're not going back. They say they want to cut waste, fraud, and abuse. We've always done that. We have oversight. We know what we're doing. Firing half the people at the Department of Education, that's not waste, fraud, and abuse. That's brutal. Remember this. We're here to talk about healthcare, but nothing brings more money to the national treasury than the education of the American people. Early childhood, K through 12, graduate school, post-grad, lifetime learning for our workers. That's what makes America strong. The aspirations of our children realize the greatness of our country. And yet they're cutting half the people, and God knows what else next. But here's the plan.
Here's the plan. Sorry, folks, I know a lot of you are angry. Kit, why are you putting us through this? Why are you putting us through this? Because you have to remember, this is the same Nancy Pelosi that was against Medicare for all, that was against forced to vote. The squad protected her. Vote blue, no matter who protected her. Never forget, like when people like Cenk Uygur said, "Oh, if we don't support Nancy Pelosi, oh, that means the Republicans will get in. That means the Republicans will have the seat," which was never the case, because at the time the Democrats controlled the majority in the House. Okay, so here's how force of vote would work. Because again, if there was no conclusion to a speaker, like the speaker has to get the majority, and guess what? The Democrats had the majority. Even if the squad didn't choose to vote, the Democrats would still have the majority. No Democrat, no liberal was going to go across the Republican aisle and be like, "All right, hey, Republicans, we're going to support your guy." That was never going to happen. There's party loyalty. How do I know this? Because that happened with Matt Gaetz many years afterwards. All right? But we asked him for force. We asked him for force vote. We asked him for Medicare for all, and he chose not to. Here, I want to pull up something, and you may notice this organization and group. Medicare for all. Speaker Pelosi. Should we have health care for all? I know. Horrible, horrible pause on her face.
I'm not a big fan of Medicare for all. I mean, I welcome the debate. I think that we should have health care for all. I think that the Affordable Care Benefit is better than the Medicare benefit, but we have invited advocates for it to testify in Congress, in the Ways and Means Committee, in the Budget Committee, in the Rules Committee, being respectful of the point of view. But it is expensive. Who pays is very important. What are the benefits that come in there? So I would think that hopefully, as we emerge into the election year, the mantra will be more health care for all Americans, because there is a comfort level that some people have with their current private insurance that they have. And if that is to be phased out, let's talk about it, but let's not just have one bill that would do that.
And that was the plan. That was the plan. You know, I just want to pull up something here before we continue on with the rest of their speech, because it is relevant. It does matter, because now now the Democrats want to fight for Medicare for all because they believe that it's now correct because now Trump is president. But see, the squad was never going to fight for you. And I know this because breaking news was the squad. Hey, look, there's Kit Cabello and Jose Vega. Gentlemen, what's going on?
Fraudulent, something wrong with them. But there also needs to be reflection of like, okay, like how could we have gone about it differently? Maybe that could be part of the conversation as well.
I think that they were scared. I think they were scared of Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
Let me read you what AOC said.
Wait. Does that mean like they're afraid, but does that also mean you're afraid of Mama Bear Nancy?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm scared. She haunts me in my dreams. She is the evil deity that's haunting me at night. Hold on, let's actually rewind that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to think.
Great admission.
Yeah.
Yeah, to think.
Great admission.
Yeah. Everyone's afraid of Nancy. They're afraid of Mama Bear Nancy. But now everyone's going to be following the orders because it's okay now. It's okay to talk about Medicare. It's okay to talk about Medicare and Medicaid. It's okay to talk about because you got the orange boogeyman. The Democrats don't have the majority. Fear is the fundraising watchword.
You were there. You were there in 18.
Oh, did somebody say Pelosi for president? Oh, you simp. I did not hear that. Audience, I need you to correct me. Am I going crazy or did I hear that?
Knows what else next. But here's the plan. You were there. You were there in 2018.
I was. We shut down Lindsey Graham's hearing.
There you go. And you made it happen. They said they were going to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act. In fact, that guy who's in the White House now said Obamacare sucks. Crude as he is. But nonetheless, we said it doesn't suck. It cures. It cures. Now, Aaron talked about so many of the things that are happening with healthcare and research and the rest. I just want to focus as I close, not quite close, but almost close, and that is Medicaid. Medicaid. Many people think that Medicaid is just for poor children. That would be justification enough. That's our moral responsibility. That's what it has to do. But it's also a middle class benefit for families that need home health care. So there are 72 million people in America depend on Medicaid. And in addition to that, our veterans, many of our veterans depend on Medicaid.
Yes, but then why would you be cutting it? I mean, there's so many times where the Democrats have cut services to Medicare and Medicaid. Like, you've done this before. Isn't it interesting how the sheep always return back?
So our leadership under Hakeem Jeffries and Catherine Clark and Pete, our leadership next week, we will be having a day all over the country. One word, Medicaid. Save our Medicaid. What they did in that bill that passed the House last night was disgraceful. It was harmful. It was deadly.
I like how the Democrats, and again, you know what? I said this on the post-duopoly show, and I'll say it again. The Democrats, all of them, they're like a meth head Santa. They make a lot of promises. They make a lot of big statements, but they fail to deliver all the time, every time. Okay? That's meth head Santa. That's who the Democrats are. They're the meth head Santas.
For some people. So understand this, and I'll say it again and again. We work very hard listening to you, deciding on priorities, writing language that serves the needs of the people. And we can only go so far. Without the outside mobilization, we cannot succeed. Popular democracy, thank you for having me. Popular democracy. And then in addition to that, we have to, in less time, when you helped, we had 10,000 events around the country.
Oh, God.
To save the Affordable Care Act. You know what people did? They told their stories. It wasn't about.
You know what also happened? I remember a thing called Force the Vote, where people told their stories. And, I remember Force the Vote. I remember what it meant. I remember what it signifies. And it's rather hypocritical now seeing the Democrats talk like this. Let me remove their mug here for a second here. But I want to remember that when people asked the Democrats to step up and fight and challenge party leadership, the squad didn't do it because, to quote this guy, hey, hold on. Let's see these two handsome devils again. Kid and Jose. Kid and Jose, take it away. And this is, again, a clip from Breonna Joy Gray's interview with Jamal Green. Is the squad afraid of Nancy? Is it? Yeah.
Unfortunately, something wrong with them. But there also needs to be reflection of okay, how could we have gone about it differently? Maybe that could be part of the conversation as well.
I think that they were scared. I think they were scared of Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
Let me read you what AOC said.
Wait. Does that mean they're afraid? But does that also mean you're afraid of Mama Bear Nancy?
Yeah.
It's yeah, I'm scared. She haunts me in my dreams. She is the evil deity that's haunting me at night. Hold on, let's actually rewind that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great admission.
Yeah.
Huge shout out to Soul Construct. He actually sent me this clip. So all the best to him and everything else. But here's a story. Here's a story that the squad, who's afraid of Nancy Pelosi, forgot to listen to.
My mom actually died when I was younger. As she was about to leave her kids and her husband, my mom was worried about having to get treatment because it would have bankrupted our family.
Our insurance company refused my claims.
They'll gladly let a vulnerable boy and his family suffer.
I actually used to be a fiscal conservative, diehard Republican, and I lost everything.
This is my sister Diana, and the medications for her autism are more than $2,000 a month. The same medication in another country is $14.
Force a vote for Medicare for all.
We are the only developed nation on earth that does not have some form of universal health care.
I went to the emergency room. They said that I needed to follow up with my doctor, and I can't go see a doctor. I don't have health insurance. I can't pay this bill.
I've been working in a nursing home about 5-6 years now, and they're telling me I don't deserve health care. I'm going tomorrow to a nursing home with active COVID patients.
Force the vote.
Let there be a vote for Medicare for all.
If we had a Medicare for all system, my dad could have just gone to the actual doctor and they would have caught the cancer earlier.
Force the vote now.
Hashtag force the vote.
People don't go to the hospital because they don't have insurance.
Force the vote.
We need Medicare for all.
By the time I had some idea of what to do to treat my illness, I could no longer afford to treat my illness.
Force the vote now.
I am one of the many millions of Americans who have lost their health care.
If you actually care about defending the human rights of Americans,
force the vote.
I got stabbed in the chest, and their answer for me getting attacked was to charge me $270,000.
Force the vote.
I had a bone disease, and my doctor goes, "You're not making bone properly." And I was like, "Well, should I take a Viagra?" He's like, "No, it's not."
One day I stepped off a step the wrong way, and my spine collapsed. The insurance company wouldn't pay.
Force the vote.
My father had health insurance, and we had to fight the health insurance company to try to get to pay for his life-saving medication. And I was sitting in a hearing where one of the Blue Cross Blue Shield representatives was sitting in front of me laughing. And I leaned forward and reminded him that the dying man that you're laughing about is my father.
That's not right.
Force the vote. Force it.
Both Republicans and Democrats support Medicare for all.
Force the vote.
Vast majority of our fellow citizens support it.
We expect our politicians to
force the vote.
And if the politicians aren't willing to demand it, then they should get out of the way.
Force a vote.
I've had enough. Force the vote.
If not now, when?
Force the vote.
They ran on Medicare for all. The squad needs to do their job. Hashtag force the vote.
Screw all these partisan politics. It's time to start fighting for the people.
Please force the vote.
And now that was, again, 4 years ago. But why is this relevant? Because you have Democrats now saying, you have Nancy Pelosi now talking about it. Now, on the one hand, okay, great, you're talking about this, but you're worried that you're going to be called out now. You want to defend Medicare and Medicaid, but what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do to stand up? What are you actually going to do to fight back? Because it was under your leadership, Nancy Pelosi, when the Democrats had a supermajority in the House and Senate under Barack Obama, that, oh, wait, nothing happened with Roe v. Wade. Oh, wait, nothing happened with Medicare for all. Nothing happened with any of these social programs. Now you want to show us that you care, like an abusive partner. After when they get kicked out of the house, they're like, "Oh, I promise I'll change my ways. I promise I'll be better." And they have the perfect scapegoat, Donald Trump. Take it away, Nancy.
Today, the administration has gone so far to hurt working families in our country when it comes to Medicare and Medicaid. They're using that money to pay for their tax cuts for their rich friends. We have to make sure people know what is at stake and what it means to them personally.
I grew up in a working poor family in North Philly. My mom was trained as a CNA, and she spent most of her career in home health care. She would come home every day and have to ration her insulin. She would have to sit us down, as she did multiple times as I was a kid, and say, sorry, we can't afford the rent and we can't stay here anymore. And so I know so much of politics and political reporting, frankly, is about the reality TV nature of it. But for folks like me, there is no argument. It's just our lives. It's just whether or not we're going to live in a country where if you get sick, you can just go to the doctor. And that is what the Affordable Care Act has done. That is what Democrats have always done, what we did with Social Security.
No, it's not. Because when we ask the Democrats to fight back, when we ask the Democrats to stand up, when we ask the Democrats to push back, they tell us no. 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 They tell us to F off. They give us the middle finger. And only now, when it's socially acceptable to fight, is when the Democrats actually find their courage. They find their strengths. They find their soul. Is this the best you can do? I mean, look, I know you're pushing out Bernie Sanders, and I know a lot of you Democrats are pushing out everybody you can, but now you're pushing out Nancy Pelosi. You do realize that she's not popular and that she told voters that they should go back to China? Nancy Pelosi has a very interesting stock portfolio. Does anyone ask her about her and insider trading? Oh, wait, I forgot. Yeah. People are afraid of Nancy. The leadership, all the politicians are afraid of Nancy. The Democrats are, including AOC, the squad in name only. They're doing this now because they know people are afraid. Now, look, I don't want to see anything happen to Social Security. I don't see anything happen to any social safety nets. I don't want to see anything happen to Medicare and Medicaid, but it's going to happen. And you want to know who held open the door for it? Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats. They could have chosen to fight, but they didn't. They expected all of you to be good little sheep.